My name's George Vagias. I work for Melbourne Water. Pre-injury, I was a sewage transfer high voltage operator.
George's accident happened in 2008 while he was undertaking some high voltage switching in our switching room at Brooklyn Pump Station. That was probably the worst day of my life at Melbourne Water, the day of George's accident.
When the accident happened, during the racking in of the high voltage circuit breaker, the circuit breaker actually let go and pushed me back, pushing me through a double door, busting my ankle and obviously giving me 65% burns to my body. So the ambulance arrived, put me on the gurney, and I said to the bloke, it's starting to really hurt. Next thing I know, I woke up 33 days later after being in an induced coma in intensive care. My main driver was to get out of hospital, get back to my family, and eventually get back to work. My wife was very supportive, and I still remember her words in my mind all the time, as far as just take your time, just small steps and you'll get through it. And that's what actually happened. The injury happened in Feb. I was full-time in March the following year.
George really was leading the push for safety changes from a high voltage perspective. So looking at new sorts of equipment that we could use that would make the switching operation safer. But he was also in there just looking at PPE, so high voltage switching clothing.
One of the really impressive things about George was, one, that he came back to his role and continued to do that activity that he was injured in, but he wanted to make sure that nobody else had that experience. He saw it as his legacy, and he didn't want anyone to be put in the same position as he was.
We started talking to George about how we might be able to share the message that he had. So Virtual George became a kind of a question and answer situation where somebody could sit down and talk to George about what had happened to him, how his recovery had gone, how he was feeling about things, his general views on safety and those kind of things.
I was almost in tears just thinking about what had happened to George and how he'd come back to work. But even sort of talking about it now, I start to get teary again when I start thinking about what happened and the way he's recovered and got back into things. Remarkable.
Small steps and you'll get there. Small steps. Focus on what you want to be in the future and it'll show itself.